right, I want to take you down to the Gulf Coast and parts of Florida. Rain trapped under that heat dome is going to soak the Gulf Coast. We now have an area to watch. It was tagged earlier this afternoon into this evening across the southeast coast. And now a 10% chance. If you were joining us when we first started the show, we talked about the stalled front and that low pressure system that may form. There was a very low chance of this becoming tropical. Looks like National Hurricane Center has dove into some of the models here, taking a look at it from a different perspective. Now we have a 10% chance of tropical development within the next 10 days. It's low, but it's still tagged. We look at this overall today. We have that low that's just now developing, and it's moving into a pocket of a lot of moisture. This will continue to be guided off towards the west from that high pressure system that we've been talking about. So eventually it will find its feet in parts of the Gulf Coast, and there is where we have at least a chance of seeing some tropical development. It is fairly low, as we mentioned. There's a lot of moisture, though, to play with, especially if it hangs offshore in the Gulf long enough. So we'll watch that closely, whether this becomes named or not. And remember, the next name on the list is Dexter. If this does or doesn't become named, areas from Florida through Mississippi, Alabama, into Louisiana can expect to see heavy downpours, tropical-like downpours as well. Overall, it is weak. It is still disorganized. Notice that even as we take it to Friday, not much spin in place. There are some strong indications of some circulation, but again, not a well-organized system. There's a couple of different caveats that come into play with that. Hostile winds, that keeps this disturbance from developing. At least a big chunk of it keeps it from developing. Another thing is that this is where we could see that low try to get itself together. It really doesn't happen until it's over in the Gulf. So we have to wait until late Wednesday, if not Thursday, to see that circulation try to come together. And as I mentioned, whether it does or it doesn't, we still are expecting heavy tropical downpours along the Gulf Coast. Again, we know this is on the hills of Invest 93L that fizzled out last week. So we'll keep a close eye on it. Overall, looking at some of the rain totals, heaviest of the rain wants to hug the immediate Gulf Coast. We're talking about 2 to 3 inches as that data comes in. There it is. New Orleans could see some higher totals, closer to 3 inches of rain before all is said and done. Now I want to take a look at this Invest 94L a little farther out. Again, this is over parts of the Caribbean. We've been watching this one closely throughout the day, too. The Atlantic Basin has been fairly quiet, but there is some long-range computer models that are hinting at more activity, and it's right on par with our calendar. I mean, we look at the main development region. We were watching things like these tropical waves, the seeds that would be the first starting point of any tropical development. There is still that potential there, but of course, all of the environment in itself remains a big question. We've been talking about the Saharan dust. We've been talking about the hostile winds. That has been what has been keeping things fairly quiet thus far. We just talked about this new area to watch, and we'll continue to watch it as such, but otherwise, Invest 94L, it's fizzled out, and it does look like we have a very slim chance of that becoming a big issue. The reason why? Saharan dust has been taking hold over parts of the Atlantic Basin. We know that higher up in elevation, that snuffs out any storm activity. So we really haven't seen these storms grow vertically enough to become a named storm or beyond Invest for the National Hurricane Center. Another thing has been the hostile winds. We had this pocket of hostile winds around that high pressure system out across the Bermuda. We have another pocket, very hostile, back across the Caribbean. So it really doesn't have much in terms of space to help continue to develop moving forward. D-name storm happens typically around mid-August, August 15th to be exact. So we're right on track. We've already had A, B, and C name storms. Dexter's next on the list. This is your reminder, though, although we don't have a name system in the open Atlantic, to still get prepared for a hurricane system. The season really doesn't peak until mid-September. Could see some opportunities for these tropical waves to push into a conducive environment, but we really don't see that moving forward.